Hey, welcome everybody to a special video series they're calling TrailblazersTV. We're featuring a few of Trace3's key partners and asking them to play a fun game with us. I'm Josh Lindstrom, Senior Director, Data and Analytics. I'll be your host today. I'm joined today by Kyle Leciejewski, Senior Vice President, Global Specialty Sales at Dell Technologies. Okay, Kyle, I'm going to ask you a few questions. What the questions are will be determined by this wheel. We have a mix of business, technical, and fun. You have no idea what's going to come your way, Kyle. So, hey, you ready to play?
Josh, I'm ready to go. Thanks for having me. You guys are an amazing partner at Dell Technologies, and I'm excited for this fun format. Let's get right into some questions.
I love it. All right, let's go. Let's spin this thing. Let's see what we got. I love it. All right, what do we got? What do we got? I love it. Starts with why Trace3. So,
wow,
Kyle,
good opener.
Yeah, I love the opener, and we had this conversation a little bit behind the scenes, but hey, why partner with Trace3? Why is Dell partnering with Trace3? Why are you guys collaborating on that front?
Yeah, it's a great opener. First and foremost, you guys have been a long-term Dell Tech partner. You guys have been around for almost 20 years, and we've been partners for about that long as well. I think one of the things that really anchors me to Trace3 is your technical capability. Roughly half of your workforce is technical, from competency, capability, and architecture and planning and delivery, solutioning, consulting. You guys really have the depth and the breadth to go to market in a meaningful way with Dell Technologies. And we love doing it together in the field day to day. Really exciting stuff we're working on is around the analytics piece, which I know you're very close to, some of the Dell Data Lakehouse offerings, the AI factory capability, and all the data pipelines that feed into that are one of the many areas of technical competence that I know we spent a lot of time talking together about.
Yeah, Kyle, you said a while ago that you've been working with Trace3 for a long time, right? You've seen us evolve. I love the fact that I'm seeing actually Dell evolve too as well, and it's not your traditional Dell ecosystem anymore, right? You're talking about AI, you're talking about analytics, you're driving some really strong initiatives and really driving real true outcomes with your customers. So I like that. Well, hey, let's spin again. Let's see what we can get from that point. Oh, I love this one. This is next level, and all of us at Trace3, we're bringing it up to the next level. Our CEO made the comment at the beginning of the year, let's bring it to the next level, not only for our customers, our partners, but overall, hey, Trace3, what are you doing to help your customers and our partners get to that next level? I'd love to hear what Dell is doing to bring that to the next level.
Well, Josh, we'll celebrate 40 years as Dell Technologies this year. And I think, kind of grounding us in a bit of our heritage, I'll start with the level up on this amazing workforce productivity opportunity. If you actually look at the number of PCs in the install base, it's the largest and it's the oldest install base we've ever seen. And there are some amazingly compelling events that are moving customers to modernize in the space. First and foremost, we've got an entirely new lineup across our client portfolio that's been rebranded and revamped for the new era of AI, with CPU, GPU, and MPU being driven deep across the portfolio. We're ready for this next generation opportunity. If you think about how customers are evaluating the workforce decision, is they want to give the latest and greatest device to their users, and they want to put a device in those users' hands that's going to be relevant and productive for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years and beyond. And an AI-enabled PC is effectively what we think everybody is going to be carrying over the next 2, 3, 4 years and beyond. Layer in things like a Windows 10 end of life, which is creating a huge compelling event, the cybersecurity opportunity out at the edge on the PC with one of the world's most secure devices in a Dell Technologies PC, and the fact that these language models and AI opportunities will ultimately find themselves at the point in which data is created, which is out at the edge. The AI-enabled PC is not only going to be a tool for workforce productivity, but it's going to be the preeminent tool for how we do AI at the edge and bringing compute to that point of data creation. So a huge opportunity to bring it to the next level with the next gen of AI-enabled PCs for both workforce productivity and AI at the edge.
Yeah, Kyle, you hit it dead on. We're seeing actually our data scientists who don't have capabilities or even access to GPUs leveraging Dell at the edge to go run models. That used to never happen before. And again, security being a key component. We're seeing that happen real time to help accelerate our customers as well from that standpoint. So
I was at NVIDIA's GTC conference just a few weeks ago. We had some huge announcements right around the space. First was the GB10, which for $3,000 or $4,000 in a device that's about the size of your smartphone, we're now creating multi-billion parameter models at the edge. And you step up to a GB30, which for $40,000 or $50,000, we're doing small to even medium language models at a very low entry point for compute that doesn't require massive rack scale, liquid cooled capability. It's amazing what you can do in the AI evolution at the edge with our modern workforce portfolio.
Yeah, I think Jetson called it the Super Bowl of AI. I was there too as well, and it was just exciting. It's not about the autonomous cars. There's actual productivity that needs to happen on a daily basis, and Dell is helping drive that. So great points. I love that, bringing that to the next level from that point. So let's spin again. I should maybe be a little bit stronger on that, Kyle. I've been working out, so that's a good thing. All right, emerging trends. We talk about this all the time. Our innovation team is always bringing new ideas, new trends to the mix. Our data and analytics practice inside of Trace3, we're also doing that. What is Dell doing as far as these emerging trends? You touched a little bit on that next level, but maybe drill down a little bit in regards to what you guys are seeing from a Dell perspective and how you guys are supporting that.
I think the emerging trend here might be the evolving threat landscape. You think about AI for good. We maybe always forget that AI also empowers the bad guys, and cybersecurity and cyber resilience is as important now as it's ever been. If you actually look at Citibank's top CIO spend priorities for 2025, the number one spend priority for CIOs is cybersecurity. And if you think about Dell's point of view here, there's 16 or 1,700 companies that are spinning around the cyber recovery space. So we want to operate where we have a right to play and a right to win, and that's near the data. And it's around cyber recovery and cyber resilience. And if you think about sort of how we frame this up, we believe customers are really operating around kind of this 3I concept of immutability, isolation, and intelligence. So how do I get an immutable, non-editable, non-deletable copy of the backup? How do I then potentially create a digital or physical air gap so that's off network and safe? And then how do I run intelligence to understand if I've been hacked and what my known best recovery point ultimately is? And if you look across our data protection portfolio, we have revamped this end to end for this capability. Whole new lineup of Power Protect Data Domain, which is really the bedrock of a sound cyber recovery strategy as a sound data protection strategy. We can obviously operate that in an open ecosystem where third-party softwares can drive their data protection and resilience to data domain. But we've also innovated a lot on Power Protect Data Manager, which is our integrated software that works with data domain. We've added multi-hypervisor, we've added advanced file. It's one of the top net promoter score for backup software in the industry. Dell's got an amazing portfolio here. We've done 2,500 of these cyber vaults for customers. We've done a number of them with Trace3 as well. And our managed detection and response are another layer of services that you can layer on top of the cyber recovery solution to really be ready for anything in the emerging threat landscape.
Yeah, it's interesting, Kyle, because we're having a lot of these conversations with our customers. The security team is becoming a separate business unit. The CISO needs better insights. They're looking at different ways to protect around vulnerabilities and being able to have an entire methodology and ecosystem framework to be able to attack all that, with data kind of being the underlying key component to all of that. And it's awesome that Dell is tying itself into all of those things to be able to make sure that the CISOs and our customers are feel comfortable going to bed at night, right?
Spot on, Josh. Well said.
Let's see if we get a fun one here. What do you think?
I
think
love
we
it.
can get a fun one? All business, all the time. Oh, well, let's keep going business. We're talking a little bit about Sneak Peek. tell us a little bit what's kind of coming from a Dell perspective. What should our customers and some of the Trace3 folks and those folks should be listening for about what's coming out from a Dell perspective? How are you guys leading it with some things that are maybe out there in the future here?
Yeah, look, I think one of the one of the compelling keywords of this year will be disaggregated or composable infrastructure. And I think what we're finding here is that, look, customers want a more open ecosystem. They want to have hypervisor independence. They want container independence. They know they're going to have to navigate a multi-hypervisor, multi-container world. They know that these new modern workloads like AI and analytics need to coexist with traditional workloads like database and file constructs. And what they're looking for is this more independently scalable or disaggregated architecture where server and storage capability can not only be open into the multi-hypervisor, multi-container capability, but also independently scale. And when we find this disaggregated capability, we find that utilization rates go up. So server utilization goes up, storage utilization goes up. And in doing so, software licensing costs go down, and the cost to serve from a cost per terabyte goes down. And I think one of the key elements here is as customers move to these more open and disaggregated or composable infrastructures, there's going to be a reliance on delivering the automation and orchestration to continue to make those things turnkey outcomes. So think how I patch, how I lifecycle, how I automate, how I orchestrate. And I think Dell's position here is second to none. One of the largest mainstream server vendor. We just got the latest 17G lineup in Power Edge. If you look at the install base, 92% of that install base is sitting on 13 or 14G. And when you move from a 13 or 14G server to a 17G server, you get anywhere between 5 to 7 to 1 consolidation. So a huge opportunity to free up power, cooling, floor space for those traditional workloads to make room for those modern workloads and AI capability. And then if you look on the storage side of this, our PowerStore Prime announcement is a best-in-class storage device. In fact, if you look at our storage portfolio, we're larger than number 2, number 3, and number 4 combined. And PowerStore Prime is a prime example, no pun intended, of our innovation here. Industry-leading 5-to-1 data reduction rate, some incredible capability to do non-disruptive lifecycle migration, and you put together that Power Edge and PowerStore with this automation platform to make it a more turnkey outcome. We're super excited about 2025, and I think you'll continue to hear more and more from us on this thread as the year unfolds and as Dell Tech World comes around the corner in May.
Yeah, and Kyle, I will tell you, it's one of our top use cases, particularly in the data center. You cannot operate these AI clusters like you would do a traditional cluster. And so with all that automation, all that orchestration that's needed, we call it up the stack, where we're trying to feed data workloads to GPUs and get them to the data scientists faster so they can drive the real true outcomes, particularly around AI models. But you need to be able to have that full stack fully orchestrated. And I love the fact that Dell is doing some of that. So great points and excited about what's coming down the road and looking forward to talking with you at Dell World. So
love it.
Let's try to get a fun one, Kyle. That's what we're trying to do here. I mean, we get all right, foodie. So you and I were having a conversation a little while ago. I'm going to Charlotte. Tell me what I would do in Charlotte for food. Like, where am I going? The main food that I would go after, and what do you like to do when you guys go out with the family?
Yeah, I love it. Thanks for the question. I was born and raised in Ohio, but been in North Carolina for about the last 15 years. And I think one of the things you'll quickly figure out living in Charlotte, there's probably two really important things. The first is barbecue, and the second is NASCAR. So if you think about barbecue, there's a local spot here called Max Speed Shop. It's one of the top barbecue spots in Charlotte. They've got a number of locations now. It's one of my favorite spots to go for that Carolina barbecue. And I actually live in a little town just north of Charlotte called Mooresville. And if you follow NASCAR, Mooresville is Race City, USA. We're just a couple miles away from where the Coca-Cola 600 takes place. And NASCAR is certainly the sub industry around here. So, while we may not have every major sports team, we got a handful, but I suppose NASCAR certainly serves as one of the bedrock sporting elements here in Charlotte.
So I haven't been to a NASCAR race in a while, Kyle. I'm at a NASCAR event. What am I eating? Am I eating a hot dog with a beer, or what am I eating here?
Well, I mean, I think between the earplugs and the mullets, and there's quite a few of them at a NASCAR event, they're always pretty entertaining crowd nonetheless. Yeah, I would say one of my go-tos there is a nice cold beer and a hot dog. I suppose it kind of takes out some of that ball game atmosphere as far as the food choices, but I think it's a safe go-to.
Okay, good. I like it. We got a fun one in there. Disruptors. Trace3 has always been known as a disruptor. We want to lead with innovation. We like to lead with engineering. Tell me a little bit how Dell is being that disruptor. We talked a lot about Sneak Peek. We saw a little bit about Next Level. Tell me how you guys are disrupting the way that Dell goes to market, and how your sellers and your customers are embracing that disruption.
I think you got to kind of anchor this one on the revolution that is artificial intelligence, and specifically Gen AI right now. You sort of zoom out. I mean, Dell's a major innovator. We're invested over $8 billion in R&D in just the last 3 years. I mean, you think about our R&D investment and you compare it to some of the competitors' top line revenue is what we're investing in R&D. If you sort of look at kind of 30,000 patents, one of Fortune's most admired and most innovative companies. And I think we brought this to life over the last year in AI. We were one of the early movers on GPU-enabled compute with deep partnerships with NVIDIA, of course, as well as AMD and Intel. The XE9680 was one of the most successful server launches the industry's ever seen. We delivered over $10 billion in top-line revenue on that one product alone last year. And we've guided the street to over $15 billion in top-line revenue this year. And if you look at the compute lineup in GPU and AI, it is astounding. From the silicon diversity I opened with to air and liquid cooled options into both ARM and x86 architectures. We are going to build a compute platform for arguably any and every workload across AI and HPC and everything in between. But it doesn't really stop there, Josh. You got to network these things together next, both GPU to GPU and server to storage. These are new, profound performance requirements. And you're going to see our networking lineup for AI be second to none. You'll see both Broadcom and NVIDIA-based architectures. You'll see them in both Ethernet and InfiniBand connectivity at 400, 800, and soon 1.2T and beyond on speed. It's amazing. And then you got to feed it, and you got to feed it with data. Yeah. And the GPUs are hungry, and the way you feed it is with high performance, scale out, unstructured storage, which is power scale and object scale. And again, that leading storage position I talked about earlier in more the block storage context comes to life here in the file and object or unstructured context as you feed these GPU. And you think about the innovation there from density at 60 terabyte QLC drives to 120 terabyte per drive, creating petabytes in just a couple rack units, into how you connect in front-end InfiniBand and a soon-to-be parallel file system that sits on top of PowerScale, all the way into the certifications like NVIDIA's cloud platform and SuperPod certs. You put these pieces together, the compute, the network, and the storage, and you help customers engineer the hard parts. Think like the cabling and the integration and the rear door heat exchangers and the cooling topologies for air and liquid. And these things now truly become an infrastructure offer that creates this turnkey AI factory for customers to go wild with their models and their data in a sovereign, secure, and compliant way. This is where the disruption is happening. This will be a land of haves and have-nots, and those that are fast movers and early movers here will dominate companies that are slow and laggards here. And every company's looking for their competitive advantage in AI, and we're helping them find that competitive advantage more quickly and rapidly, very tightly aligned with your go-to-market and your expertise as well.
Yeah, Kyle, I think you just hit it right on the head. I mean, we're big fans of Dell at the beginning because you guys were embracing that. You started integrating all those pieces. Now the customer doesn't have to piecemeal that together. They have everything available to them, and they can hit the ground running, particularly around AI outcomes and being able to go drive, again, leveraging and accelerating those models because Dell already has the appliance already pre-built. It's got the software on there. You have options on the back end. You have the storage feeding the GPUs and everything across the board. And that's one thing that we've seen on our side and why we're embracing that partnership, because we're seeing like a true value to that. And customers, not that they want to have an easy button, but now it's a little bit easier for them to get going because their board is saying, hey, we need to do an AI initiative, ready, go. Dell could come in, help accelerate that real time and go from there. So
yeah, Josh, I think it's a great call out. And maybe just one final bridge there is, if you think of the context of the AI opportunity over the last year and a half, for the last decade, customers have been doing more traditional AI, right?
Yeah.
The last year and a half, all the growth has been fueled by a smaller number of very large cloud service providers building the LLMs. But the opportunity this year and beyond is in how the enterprise becomes activated, right? How the enterprise begins to deploy these models. And what you'll see from us at Dell World and beyond is how we continue to sort of up-level this from not only turnkey infrastructure, but to how you build these models for things like, code generation and content creation and digital chatbots and digital twins and new simulation capabilities. All of those will be built as more and more turnkey offers to help activate the enterprise in conjunction with your consulting and services capability. We really are a uniquely positioned partnership between Trace and Dell Tech to go to market in a big way for the enterprise and our customers around AI.
It actually goes from the art of the possible to the art of getting things done. And that to me is where we're seeing a real line of how we go bring that to the mix. And so we're seeing that real time, and love the fact that you're plugging our consulting efforts, because again, not only can we help you get the Dell side set up and work with the Dell team to be able to go do it, but now we're focusing on use cases. We're going to solve those business problems and leveraging AI to be able to go do that. So really appreciate that, Kyle. All right, couple more. Let's see. Event, right? Tell us you talked to me a little bit. Cleveland, Chicago, Charlotte, all these different places. What do you like to do, Kyle? What's your go-to event? I always like saying I'm a big fan of music, so I'm like, give me your 3 concert venues that you like to go to, or maybe bands. Maybe go after bands. What do you think there?
All right,
I'm putting you on the spot a little bit.
No, it's all right. You are, but that's all right. We think on our feet here.
That's right.
Look, I'd say living in Charlotte for a long time, I was not a country music fan growing up in Cleveland, but I've become a country music fan living down here for a long time. And one of my favorite cities to go visit is Nashville. The live music scene up and down Broad Street is second to none.
Love it.
And then, honestly, I got to plug Dell's headquarters in Austin, Texas, as one of the most fun cities to go visit. We're up in Round Rock, just a handful of miles north of Austin, and the live music and barbecue and high growth Southern fun city vibe in Austin is unique and second to none. I don't know. There's maybe a couple top of mind things that I like going to and visiting.
I love it. I mean, again, Austin, Nashville, you can't go wrong. Live music, and I love you threw the barbecue in there, so that's even better. So I appreciate that, Kyle. All right, couple more. I think we got a couple more left here. We talked about next level. We talked foodie. Call me. Ideally, why would customers call Dell? And I love that answer, because I get called out of the spot from friends, family, or like Trace3. Like, why would folks call you? I always have an answer, and it's a little bit different depending on the audience that I'm talking to. But Kyle, tell me why folks like maybe even Trace3 would call you, maybe customers would call you. Tell me a little bit why folks would call Dell.
Yeah, look, I think in this world, it's moving at such a pace that customers are looking for fewer, more strategic partners. And I think Dell Technologies' capability to be this best of breed vendor, but yet a one-stop shop. Michael affectionately refers to this as number one in everything, but all in one place. And what we mean by that is, number one in monitors and PCs and mainstream server and GPU to primary storage and data protection and everything in between, but all in one place. You don't need to go to 4, 5, 6 different point product companies to get a leading offer in the category, but yet orchestrate them from one place, one set of commercials, one set of as a service or consumption models, one set of T's and C's and how you contractually go to market, one account team that you build deep and grounded relationships with. I think that this is what makes Dell unique. And as we operate across kind of our 3 major vectors, that modern workplace, our client kind of motion, that modern data center or infrastructure motion, and then the AI capability that sort of spans between them, all underpinned with security and resiliency, along with sustainability. That portfolio is unique. And, I think the thing that keeps me here for 20 years and counting is it's sort of grounded in our purpose, which is that we create technologies that drive human progress. And if you think about the application of technology to drive human progress, especially in the AI era, everything from drug discovery and how we're accelerating that to how you're helping to accelerate, healthcare outcomes, to sequencing the next genome, to solving some of the world's most challenging problems in aerospace and intergalactic exploration. It really kind of spans all of these vectors of technology for good and technology to drive human progress. And some of the projects we get to work on with customers are amazing. Some of them are super secret at the federal government. Super them are very commercialized in the enterprise, all the way down to the small business and everything in between. Dell Tech really serves a really wide variety of customers with a really wide portfolio of capability. And we're grounded in that mission to drive human progress. And it's a special place to be and a special culture to be a part of.
Yeah, and Kyle, that you just hit it on the head of why I would call you. I love the fact that it's true end to end. And at the end of the day, you're solving all these problems across multiple verticals and no problem's too small. Let's go take a look at it. And again, no problem's too big either, right? Let's go drive that too as well. So all good points. I think we got one more. Sure. I'm just going to pull it over there. AI assistant. Okay. I think that's the last one. And I always like ending with that sometimes, because how are you leveraging AI in your everyday life? Are you leveraging it? And more importantly, you were telling me about a little bit about your family. Is your family embracing it? Are you guys embracing it on a day-to-day basis? Or is this something that, the newer generation is just embracing and they're just trying to say, hey, Dad, I use ChatGPT. What are you guys doing on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah. So, I've got little guys turning 4 and turning 5. So their AI skills are still being developed, but I'm amazed at how well they can operate an iPad at 4 years old.
Sure. That's crazy. Yes.
But I think one of the cool things in my personal life right now is you start playing around with some of these, open AI things, specifically around deep research. It is amazing what some of these new capabilities in deep research can do. And if you're not familiar, deep research effectively allows you to kind of take a complicated questioning and do more advanced reasoning or multi-step reasoning. And you can ask it incredibly complicated problems, and it might take a few minutes to give you an answer, but it'll write you a PhD type thesis on a very intricate set of questions. It's amazing. Like, I actually don't think we're pushing the envelope big enough or fast enough to what the technology is capable of. And the other interesting little nugget in that is the amount of tokens it requires to do a deep reasoning versus a simple ChatGPT is order of magnitude. And actually think about now more professionally how customers deploy this stuff. Doing some of these models in a pay per token consumption structure in a hyperscaler might be great for early learning and for early capability. But as these things move to production and as this deep reasoning gets better and as the amount of tokens required becomes more and more, and the differentiation is the data, right? It's your intellectual property. It's your unique capability. It's not some open model that has access to everybody's information. The value in these for the enterprise is when it's enriched with your information. And now an on-prem, secure, sovereign, owned or consumed type model, and that construct is unique and differentiated. And I actually kind of end the prompt of the question with, Dell's doing a lot of really cool stuff with this internally. We kind of have this framework of AI in our products, AI on top of our solutions, AI with our partners, and AI for us. And the AI for us is we built this digital assistant, this chatbot for our global sales organization, where we basically got all this information behind our firewall. It's our proprietary information, from competitive information to spec sheet to product positioning to pricing and CPQ capability. And in real time, the AI can source a whole bunch of our private information, and we are saving sellers anywhere between 3 and 4 hours a week every week with a tool like Dell Sales Chat. I was driving down to an energy customer just a couple weeks ago, and I said, hey, can you go out and scan the web for this energy customer's latest announcements? Can you map it back to our portfolio and give me sort of a competitive summary of how we'd stack up against their installed vendor A, B, and C? And what it spit back was amazing. So the AI in my personal life sort of translates into how it gets deployed, sort of translates into how Dell is using it. It's pretty special and pretty unique. So exciting to say nonetheless.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about your travel. You're all over the place, and that productivity is just something you just didn't have before. And I love one thing I love about that Dell tool is that there's even an avatar that actually interacts with you, shows facial recognition, but then at the same time also goes after and gets you the information you need as you go into some of these customer meetings and work through it. So,
Josh, and it's super cool. I think that sales example is one of a handful of ones we're deploying internally. Another one is we got 20,000 engineers that write software code every day, and how we're leveraging AI code assistance is probably a second major use case. We've got one of the most resilient and secure supply chains, and how we're doing digital twin simulations for how to source product in more secure and dynamic ways, to a massive services capability on things like next best action, or how to identify mean time to identification, mean time to resolution, fastest next best action in our services capability. We're deploying AI in lots of pockets across Dell technology with some incredible results. So, it's a bit of a eat your own dog food or drink your own champagne, maybe more delicately put, but we are definitely walking the walk on AI as a consumer of it, as well as a purveyor of it to our customers and partners.
Well, Kyle, really appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us on Trailblazers TV. I hope you enjoyed the game. I did. I love the conversation. Let's connect up at Dell World. Looking forward to working with you a little bit further, and Trace3 and Dell working and collaborating to help our customers. So appreciate the time, Kyle. Thanks.
Love it, Josh. Thanks for the partnership. It's great working with you. We'll see everyone on May 19th at Dell Tech World, and all the best.